been given access to receive messages of clarity, guidance, and love. As channeler, psychotherapist, and author, Noemi Grace has an intimate dialogue with the divine on your behalf. Lisa Berry, creator of the show Light on Living, will be co-hosting as live callers ask their burning question on self-love, self-healing, deepening relationships, areas of struggle, and next steps. By simply listening in, you're receiving wisdom that will lead to sacred stability from every channeled message that Noemi delivers. Join us now as we give you access to angels and grace.
Good day, everyone, on this January 2020 episode of Access to Angels and Grace. And hello, Noemi Grace.
Hello, Lisa. Oh, what a episode today. You and I have been through so much this week with our loved ones, and my very dear friend Marie Patrice Massey is in brain surgery right now. And she has been an inspiration for the show because of her unshakable trust in the midst of something that would terrify 99.9% of all of us. And so we dedicated the show to her and to your beloved Lavinia.
Yes, the little kitty cat. I had to, when I heard our intro there, you identify, you relate to, things that pop, like you hear your ears perk up, like, oh, I'm going through that, or I need answers, I need this. And I heard today what jumped out at me was the areas of struggle. And I thought, oh boy, that's certainly one of, as you said, unshakable trust, that I wonder how many of us struggle with trust, both sides of it, gaining it and giving it and receiving it.
Yes, same struggle, but so much for us. We learn trust through being stretched in challenging times, and to be able to have that foundation of trust, as my dear friend Marie Patrice does, so that when the challenging time comes, you're able to stand in trust and not have to freak out and then try to go look for trust. So
yes, because if you haven't built it, when you do have an area of struggle, you are standing, and I like that you said that. You just can't call upon, unless you have faith, I guess, too. But you're right. Like, building the trust is an ongoing, every day. And actually, that's a really good thing. Like, I think during this show, that's what I'm foreseeing the future here. At the end of the show, the listeners and you and I will have ways of how to build that trust in ourselves, in others, and for others. Like, we want to be trustworthy too, so that we are showing up, standing in trust to lead that way.
Oh, absolutely. And I do remember in a show, maybe in November or December, where there was a channeled message about how to become trustworthy to ourselves. That was in the midst of a show, and I don't remember what subject, but we did have that, and that was pretty kind of enlightening for me. So.
Oh, well, I'm going to ask you flat out here. I'm putting you on the spot. Do you trust yourself?
Do I trust myself? Most of the time, not unconditionally, but what is really showing up here is not just trust of self, but it's trust of the universe, trust of the divine, trust of life. Do you trust life?
Do you trust life? Oh,
yeah. So when you get the curveballs and the things that you think weren't supposed to happen or weren't in your plan, do you trust? Do you trust in that moment? It's easy to trust ourselves when we feel like we're in control, but when we feel our life is out of control, it's spinning out of either it's spinning out of control or it's not within our control, such as my friend having brain surgery. Do we trust, or do we revert to a stance of fear rather than trust?
Mm-hmm. And then what would be some of this? When I'm thinking of the signs that would show up, letting me know that I'm not trusting in that moment. I would feel like, okay, I'm trying to over control things, not just control and guide, but micromanage and really control. And would you agree that's a sign that kind of shows up to ourselves to say,
Sure.
I'm lacking some trust here.
And do you have peace if you stop, right? Because we may be racing around, running around, getting stuff done. But if you stop and just be still, what do you find there? Is there peace or some anxiety, which is a manifestation of fear, or something else? In the trust, we sit. So the divine is saying right now that in trust, it's like you sit in love, you stand in love, and in non-trust, you are embracing fear. Your fear becomes your reality in non-trust.
I was just thinking about that because I had a friend share with me today that their family, when they experience anxiety, they're just realizing how much anxiety they really have, and that's just showing up for me now. Like, wow, yeah, because there's a lot of fear, there's a lack of trust. It's all kind of linked. This is so making sense to me.
It is
like
very linked, very linked.
Yeah.
And just speaking about the love, there's when we're ready. There's a beautiful passage from my book, An Intimate Dialogue with God, The Miraculous Power of Unconditional Self-Love, that links love with trust. And
you could do that now. I think this is a lovely time.
Okay. So I had asked the divine, how can I be more at peace, serene in my circumstances? Serene, not caught up in frustration or sweat the small stuff. So those were my common realities, so I put those down there. And I'm going to jump around in this message because it's about 4 pages, but I'm going to read some of the highlights. And the response was, serenity radiates from a loving heart. Love yourself. Love those around you. And love your circumstances. And I said, I have a harder time loving circumstances than people. And the response was so helpful. You want to control circumstances and you can't. Serenity comes from surrender. We see more of that in you as you wonder with great amazement as where we're taking you. The road of life takes you through twists and turns you can't imagine, ups and downs, peaks and valleys, fertile and drought times. You can't control any of this. Learn to look at your life circumstances from love. Ask yourself these questions. If I love this, what would I do? If I love this, how would I be different? What do I need to let go of so I can love this? And we're coming to the trust piece. Love is the answer you have been seeking. We are speaking of divine love, which never varies or falters and is always present. Source yourself in divine love and let go of control. Love and let go in that order. See everything with eyes of love and then let go. In love, you desire the best for you and others, and you trust that you will receive what is best for you, even if it isn't what you wanted. You receive what life offers and also what others do without judgment. You see more options because you reject nothing and embrace everything.
That's a lot of trust to embrace everything, isn't it?
Yeah. And so, it's a growth process. It's not like flipping the light switch. It's not like, okay, today I am a trusting person, and yesterday the trust was dark. I flipped the switch. It is really a growth process, and as for me, what has really helped is to not see myself as a victim. And sometimes life offers us opportunities to really choose whether we're going to be a victim or not. And certainly my friend could be seeing herself as a victim, but she's not. And in my life, there were things. I got fired from my job unjustly when I started my psychotherapy practice. And it was really clear to me that if I saw myself as a victim, I was going to be in struggle. And so learning how to let go of the victim consciousness it's every day. It's every day, because if you just listen to your internal dialogue, and if we listen to the words that come out of our mouth, we'll see all of that victim-y stuff showing up so often.
Victim-y, I love that word, victim-y.
I made it up.
I love made-up words. I was thinking, yesterday when, we were saying goodbye to Lavinia, and every logical part of my being understood it and was at peace with it, but I was struggling with, like, why am I still so sad? And God, I'm so sad. And I wanted to control it, like, you can't be sad that long, or you can't be sad that publicly, or you can't be, I really wanted to. And then it was after we had said our goodbyes, and I was with Eric and his girlfriend Natalie, and Natalie was so timely in saying this. She said, I think we all need to go for a tea. And as everybody knows, I love cats and tea. And I didn't want to go at first. Like, I thought, my God, I've been bawling my face off. I don't want to be seen. But then I surrendered and treated it with such an honorable time. Like, let's go celebrate Lavinia's life. And, I surrendered. I trusted that it was right, and it was beautiful. We had the most, we laughed, we talked about stories, we talked about a little bit of life, but whether we broke out with a little tear here and there after, it still was so I trusted. I really did trust, and I didn't want to at first. I really wanted to control it. And it was beautiful to be able to trust and allow that space. You're right. You go from struggle to surrender, and then it's every day how to build that trust.
Yeah. And, we don't have to wait for brain surgery or the loved one dying to practice that trust. Waking up every day, and there was a while where I was just waking up, standing, getting out of bed, standing, hands in prayer, and saying, trust, as the first words out of my mouth. Not the first thoughts I thought, because in bed I was thinking whatever, but as soon as I got out of bed, it was trust. And such a big learning for us, for most of us. Trust is something that most of us don't give very easily.
Yes. Oh, that's the way. I know we're going to be doing some channeling, everybody, when we come back after commercial, but we're really, really setting this one up really well, because I think there's a lot of wisdom that will come through when we ask this. But I just love that first of all, love the exercise, being able to stand there and just say the words like a mantra. But when you said a lot of people don't, did you say offer trust, like give trust? What was it you just said?
No, I just said it was hard for most of us to trust. I don't think I gave another word, but maybe I did.
Okay. No. The thing to have trust in not just others, because others. Would you say that others are a circumstance? Like trust, we're talking, like you said, is it the essence, like the world, life. So would to trust others, is that almost like a circumstance? Because others are going to do a lot of different stuff.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I see it differently, but I don't think it matters.
Oh, okay.
Right? I mean, it's like, okay, semantics here and there, but it's like, where do I trust? Where in my life do I trust, and how much do I trust? Unconditional trust is such a rare gift, and in that place of unconditional trust, and many of us have experienced moments of that, like I'm in this place, when I channel from the divine, when I'm working with clients, I've learned to be I won't claim that I'm unconditional. I just, because I'm human, but really a lot of unconditionalists there. I won't say every single time, but I'm learning unconditional trust there, and I'm much more at that level when I am in service. When I'm going about my life and something happens that I didn't expect or want, and it's a little challenging for me still to trust.
I feel like when you are in a state of trusting and trust, that your vibration is raised to a point where I feel like healing occurs in a state of trust, in the vibration of trust.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. And healing on different kinds of stuff.
Great insight, Lisa. I love it.
Oh, well, thank you. It is, I believe it's like a knitting of sort, like a coming together, a healing, I guess, yeah, because when you're healing, you're knitting together of love. It's a coming together of love inside you, and that's what a great foundation to have, a big bold Afghan of love.
But that sounds great for a winter day. Yeah.
Random side thing here. There's a quilt museum in Texas, Dallas, I think, and I snuck into it actually, but that's okay. I can do that. I didn't know better, and it was closed, but there was a school doing this tour, and I really wanted to go to the quilt museum, and it was so fascinating to learn that people make quilts originally to weave a message throughout it, and as they put this quilt on or saw this quilt, whether it's a patriotic thing or a family, name thing, but there's this trust that they messaged through as they piece things together. And it just made me think of that when I was thinking about trust. But we certainly have some questions for the divine, and for you to be that channel and trust that Source is going to give us some guidance on how to build trust and where we might see that we're lacking it. When we come back, what do you think?
So would you like to share that first question before we go to commercial?
I may not.
Okay.
There's so many questions are flooding through my mind right now.
Okay,
trust.
use the commercial then to sort that through, and we will be back.
Yes, trust everybody that we will have the perfect question upon returning from the commercials. Access to Angels and Grace.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
The universe is eager to help you and give you clarity. You only need to be willing to ask your burning question and listen to the answer Source wants you to have. As a channeler of divine messages, I take your questions directly to the divine and hear what Source is longing to tell you. I'm Noemi Grace, and my co-host Lisa Berry and I welcome you to join us as a listener or caller on Access to Angels and Grace, 2 Wednesdays a month. Call in, ask your most burning questions, hear the divine's exact words giving you guidance and clarity. Access to Angels and Grace, where messages of joy await you.
Looking for inspiration?
Want to be inspired?
Not sure where to go?
Find Mark and Kim every Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Inspired Living.
Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual.
Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
You are back with us, Noemi Grace and Lisa Berry, on Access to Angels and Grace. And Noemi, that was perfect advice for you to give me, thank you, to surrender and take a breath during the commercials to get that question to come out. gosh. And yes, so we were kind of focusing around the beautifulness of that healing comes in trust and, areas of struggle. But I remember when you and I were discussing doing this show, and what we really, what was guided to in the beginning was, okay, well, when we trust, there's an allowing that happens. And then once we do allow, then we can receive. And I think that's what you did, just trust, and then I allowed, and then I received the question. And really, that is what the question is for you to ask the divine, is that how can we use, that sounds funny, how can we use trust? That sounds horrible. But how can we use trust to open up, to be able to allow so that we can receive?
Okay, I'm writing this down because to allow so we can receive.
Because and just because I want to show the opposite of that, if we don't use trust, what we end up using is force, and I deserve this, or victimhood, I don't deserve. So by using trust, that's what I'm excited to hear what is being said, is because when we go that route, when we use that as our fuel, as our ignited passion, and trust is there. It was very wordy there. Why? My goodness.
It is kind of wordy, but no. I mean, so how can we use trust as the fuel to allow and receive?
Yes. You nailed it.
I don't know why I write this down, because I close my eyes, but but I like to see the question later.
Yes, that's helpful.
So for those who haven't maybe not tuned in before, when I am channeling, I get into a still place. I have been very connected with Lisa and with the divine, but I go deeper and I get into stillness. And then in that place, I will greet the divine and ask the divine the question. So there might be a few minutes of pause, which is not usually what happens on radio, but here it does. And it is an opportunity for all of us to go a little deeper and to get into that place within us that is deeper and more receptive. So I'll be back. Hello, Divine. So grateful to have your presence and your wisdom here with us today. And I have a question posed by Lisa. How can we use trust as the fuel so we can allow and receive? How can we use trust as the fuel so we can allow and receive? Okay, now another couple seconds to transition. We love this metaphor of trust as fuel, because where you fuel yourself, how you fuel yourself is foundation for where you're going and where you're going to arrive. If you fueled yourself with hot air, or if you fueled yourself with gasoline, there would be a difference of ability to go places and do things. And so often the default fuel for most and many of you is that victim consciousness, is asserting oneself or feeling bad for oneself, and coming from that place of self we call ego. And in that place of self called ego, which is not your true self, which is not the truth of who you are, that place of self does want to control and does do its best to take control. And control is the opposite of trust. In trust, you surrender the control. You turn the steering wheel over to the divine, to the universe, to however and whatever it is that you understand about that which is so much greater than you, because we are, and it is. There is so much greater than each one of you, and each one of you is so much greater than you believe yourself to be. And yet, the whole of all of you, plus all of what is magnificent and profound and huge. And so, if your fuel is trust, you let go of control. You turn the steering wheel over to the universe, to the divine, to God, in whatever way you understand us. And we are okay with whatever way you understand us. We do not ascribe to, you must call us God, you must call us Jehovah, you must call us Allah, you must call us the universe. It doesn't matter to us. We know who we are. We want you to know who we are. And we want you to know who you are. And you are created in our image, and you are created, sourced from divine love. And as you know yourself and the truth of who you are, it is easier to trust, because when you realize that your source is divine love, that there is a seed of divinity in you, that you are not only a solo struggling human on this planet of many solo struggling humans, but you are human and divine. You have such wisdom within you that you have not accessed, and you have so much love within you that is more than you can imagine, and you have so much ability within you to be great and to step in the greatness of who you are. And we don't mean doing things that are important. We mean being you. To be truly great is to be fully you. And so the more that you step into your fullness, and the more that you step into a deeper connection with us, with your source, so many of you are walking around feeling disconnected from your source, feeling separated from yourself, internally split. It is hard to trust when you are not whole. So the path to trust is through wholeness, and it is through healing, and it is through learning the truth of who you are and embracing that truth, because the truth of who you are is absolutely amazing. It will amaze you to know who you are. It will astonish you, and it will liberate you. And then to know who we are beyond whatever you have learned us to be. That is a box that we have been put in so that the human mind can comprehend. But we are far greater than the human mind. And so much awaits you that is far greater than your mind can imagine and your mind can ascribe to. And yet that truth and that ability is available to you. Open to the truth of who you are and the truth of who we are. Get to know the truth of who yourself, and then you can trust. The victim doesn't know the truth of who they are. They see themselves as powerless or being taken advantage of. And if you knew who you were, you would realize what tremendous power you have. And then imagine, if you know you have tremendous power, how much easier is it to trust? And not trust in an ego sense of me, but trusting in a sense of wholeness, in a sense of I understand myself as part of this greater whole, and I understand the greater whole much more than I did before, and I can trust in that greater whole. Your Einstein said that it is one of the greatest things, and most important things, and we're not quoting Einstein directly, but we're paraphrasing, is for you to know, for you to choose whether the universe is a friendly place or not. And so if the universe is friendly, easier to trust your friend. Of course, if you can't trust yourself, you won't trust your friend either. And so it is important to trust yourself by becoming trustworthy, by becoming the truth of who you are. There's so much here. We could speak for hours on this, and we don't want to overwhelm your ability to receive this message. But trust as a fuel is profoundly life-changing. start to fuel yourself, not with the ego's needs and wants and the ego's control. Letting go of control opens your world to so much more that you have no access to when you've got to control. Learning to let go is liberating and freeing. And we are always here to help. Ask us for help. If you can't trust, ask for help. I know things would be better for me now, and life would be easier for me now if I could trust. Help me to trust. And we will always help. We always answer those requests, those kinds of prayer. For this moment, we are complete in this transmission. Namaste.
Wow.
I never know what's going to come out. It's like,
I love, everything was perfect, but the end there was when the person who's thinking right now, I just know things would be so much better if I could just trust, so help me trust. I really was like, yes, because I know in those situations when I haven't been trusting or was fearful or having anxiety, if I could have just trusted in that moment, I wouldn't have had anxiety or fear. So that was a really, really good thing to relate to. There's my word, relate. I snuck it in there.
That's perfectly wonderful. And so, yeah. And it's such a process. But if we can realize we're not trusting and stop ourselves in our tracks and say, I want to be able to trust right now. And then ask the divine, ask the universe, help me to trust. And in order to trust, I've got to let go. I like that, turn the steering wheel over. I've got to be fueled, the car fueled by trust, and the steering wheel, the universe is driving. And,
I feel like we've just answered the global questions. I think this is it. This is the one show that
so you and I could just sit around and chat for another 20 minutes.
That's so funny. Well, I did come up with it's a next level question for sure. And we'll ask this. I'll share with you what question came up because we won't have time before the commercial. But what really came up is we start off, there could be like a pathway. We start off by, do we trust ourselves? Then we move into like what you mentioned. It's about trusting life. It's about trusting out there. It's about trusting in the process. But my question is going to be, what came to me was, two things. How do we trust, and when I say globally, I mean not just galactically, but I mean global. How do we meet a situation or like a government or a world issue when we don't trust them? We don't trust the process. We don't trust because we know logically that they're like, that's not going to work, or that's not the truth, or they're flat out that they are not trustworthy. How do we meet that situation with trust when we've already claimed and are holding on to, I'm not going to trust them? So it's not like we want to be open to it. We're like, no, you don't get my trust.
Well, and so, I mean, we can certainly ask the divine, my sort of where I stand with that is that it is important not to give trust to those that are untrustworthy.
Good. Okay. I'm glad you said that.
Okay. So, as a psychotherapist, I tell that to my clients. That person is not trustworthy. Are you sure that you want to trust them? So, but it is that friendly place, that friendly universe. It is trusting that global trust. It is trusting the universe that this will work out, that this too is being used for something greater, that the result of this is going to open something better. That this messed up situation is going to, and that's of course a judgment, but this situation, so we'll take out the judgment, that this situation is fuel for something better. And that the universe is conspiring on our behalf. I heard that phrase somewhere. It might have been from Abraham. I don't know, but I like that phrase. Or no, I think it was from Gabby Bernstein. The universe conspiring on your behalf. And so, that the universe is conspiring to make our lives better, And so there's no need to trust, I think, in something that is not trustworthy, but trust the greater Trust that which is greater. Trust the divine. Trust the universe.
That actually gave me a lot of clarity just in my own life, because you think, oh, you should have forgiveness, you should do this, and it's like, well, no, you have forgiveness on one thing, but it doesn't mean you have to just give your trust away. It's valuable. Trust is valuable. Yes, your fuel is valuable.
Yeah. So I might want to ask, if there is not another question, in seeing my friend Marie Patrice Massey just so trusting, how do we daily develop ourselves so that when that obstacle happens, if we're going, I have this image of us going down a river, each one of us in kind of a canoe or a kayak or something, and there's the obstacle, there's that boulder, and do we trust? And we're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to smash into it. Or how do we develop that daily? Because hopefully none of us will need brain surgery, but something will happen in our life that will challenge our ability to trust. That is part of life. And how do we trust? How do we develop that trust on a day-to-day basis so that when the challenge comes, I'm thinking we're up to the challenge, but that's not, really. But when the challenge comes, we approach it with trust.
Yes, and actually perfect, because that was going to be, I was thinking, oh, great, let's ask the divine an how-to question. And then there you go. You just said it. How do we develop trust on a day-to-day basis so that when challenging situations come up, we can move forward and use trust as our fuel? So we'll sneak away to commercial. And when we come back, Noemi Grace will be channeling that very question to help you get through your challenges. And Lisa Berry will be here just to cheer you on.
Not just.
Yeah, not just.
Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the Internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Did you know that you have the power to change anything in your life? Did you know you can do so even with the things that you've already decided are impossible to change? Come join me, Venus Castleberg, on Outside the Impossible as I interview people from around the globe that have literally changed the things they thought were impossible to change just by using the amazing tools of Access Consciousness. Now airing Wednesdays 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Do you dare to believe that anything really is possible?
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
Oh, I'm so glad we're back to ask this question. Hi, Noemi.
Hello, Lisa. Hello, everyone.
Oh, I like to say hello again after the commercial and just let everybody know that, yes, you've tuned in to Access to Angels and Grace, and I'm your co-host, Lisa Berry, with our lovely co-host, author, and channeler, Noemi Grace. And a friendly reminder that it's so easy. You don't always have to tune into us to listen to us. You can actually even access Noemi Grace herself through your book. And I'll let you share the full title again because you say it so beautifully.
The full title, An Intimate Dialogue with God, The Miraculous Power of Unconditional Self-Love. And that's on Amazon. And you can tap into the divine messages that are channeling through me on my website, noemigrace.com. That's Noemi, grace.com. And my Facebook author page, Noemi Grace Author. And there's also a special promotion for any listeners that I can channel a personalized message for you based on whatever it is you might be struggling with or your next steps. And you can read all about that on my website at noemigrace.com/access. So we got all that.
Yes.
We got all the business stuff done.
Yeah, well, not quite, because I do want to highlight this. Because you're going through now with Marie Patrice going through what she's going through, what you've shared with me, which is beautiful, is so many people are showing up to offer their healing, their love, their support, and they're all. This is a challenge to them because it's painful. They're hurting. They can either be worried, but they're holding it in great light, and so to be able to. Even in my situation with my kitty and my family, is to be able to hear messages from the divine through you that really do offer some solace, some peace, some comfort, some clarity. Like, what do I do? How do I handle this situation? So having that personal message and time to have that conversation and that dialogue with Source is so precious. And so I'm doing an extra invitation for people to reach out to you because it is available to you. And you are there. You're there, Noemi. You're welcome. So
I'm there.
You're the one who created the...
Created what?
Oh, no, you go ahead.
No, I thought you were saying something. But
I was going into the question, but no, I want you to finish with that one.
Oh, no, thank you so much, Lisa. It is. I mean, for me personally, I was able to channel a message for Marie Patrice night before last, which really helped both of us to really have the vision of the healing that's taking place. Although she was already there. I'm not taking credit for that. I mean, she was already trusting. But then I was able to channel a message to give a vision to that of what the outcome will be. And, it really is so peacemaking when you have that. So I was just so blessed to be able to do that. She is a gift to the world. So moving into that question.
Yes, I wrote it down in case do you remember it?
This is what I wrote down.
Okay.
How do we develop trust on a daily basis so when challenging situations come, we can use trust as the fuel to get us through?
Yes, perfect.
I'm just going to take some water here. I didn't drink enough on the break. I'm not sure what that sounds like on radio, but gurgle, gurgle.
We trust that you were saying what you were doing.
I thought it best to say it before I started gurgling. So, okay, so just a few seconds. You can feel the divine presence with us today, which is such a gift, such a gift. Hello, Divine, again. I always like saying hello to you. It just to greet you, to be aware of your presence here, and just also to offer gratitude that you are present here and you're helping us, and you want us. You want us to not be struggling. You want us to be thriving and loving and living lives of loving and thriving. So anyway, if you can help us to get some clarity about how we can develop that trust daily, so that when the challenges come, the bumps in the road come, that we are using trust as the fuel. We're switching there. We're not going down the road a long way and then going, oops, forgot to trust. We are pleased to help you with this question. It is a very important question. It is a vital question. So many of you, live your lives alone. Struggling alone, also striving alone. And those are not the same thing. Struggling with the challenges of life and the difficulties of life and striving to achieve and arrive somewhere and to do something and to be something alone. And you were never created to be alone. You are relational beings. And it is so important to remember that you are not here to be alone. This is not the hero's journey all alone. That is not what your life is meant to be. And that hero all alone has learned to trust themselves. But it is so much easier to be the hero to yourself when you can trust us, when you can trust the universe, when you can trust life, when you can trust those around you to support you in bringing the awareness again to Marie Patrice Massey, who is undergoing the brain surgery now. The trust of the community, the trust that she has in community and that she has attracted is really supporting her so miraculously, and that level of trust. And so how do you develop trust every day? Every day. Make it a priority. Make it an awareness that you have, as you did, Noemi Grace, standing up by the side of your bed. First words out of your mouth, trust. And we encourage you to get back to that practice, as you too can develop deeper trust, and it will liberate you. And so starting your day with the awareness, right now, I can choose to trust. I can choose trust. And choosing that. And even if you don't know what it means or you don't feel it, still, I choose to trust today. And I choose to ask for help to trust today. So if I find myself untrusting, that I will ask for help. And the more that you get to know the truth of who you are, and especially the truth of who we are, spend time with us. It's hard to trust somebody that you hardly know. If you meet a stranger, most of you will not trust them implicitly unless you have been given an introduction by someone you trust. But a random person on the street, most of you will not endow them with trust, which we agree would be wise, to not trust someone implicitly that you have no connection with. And how will you trust us implicitly if you have no connection with us? So we encourage you to forge a relationship with us, to develop a relationship with us. We certainly love this. This is delightful for us when each one of you spends time with us. We recommend meditation as the easiest path, the easiest connection. Those of you who have already developed that relationship can pray, and you can pray as a path. But rather than praying rote by rote, some prayer that you learned when you were a child and reciting it over and over again, pray in the stillness and stop and listen. Do not recite 100 times some prayer that is told to you that it will free you or put you in our good graces. Instead, offer your heart's desire and be silent and listen. And in that listening, allow yourself to connect with us and ask us to connect with you. I want to connect with you. I want to trust you. I want to trust life. I want to trust myself. That desire to trust will also lead to different choices. If you want to trust yourself, will you do things that you know are untrustworthy? Will you lie? Will you cheat? Will you steal? Will you do things? And I'm not talking about robbing a bank, but will you take something that's not yours? Will that develop trust? If you want to trust yourself and you really intend that, it will change your actions. You will choose things that will increase your trust. And as you're doing those things, catching yourself in a lie, which is so easy for you all to lie, the white lies as you call them, they're still lies, and we don't judge them. We just acknowledge them as untruths. And so as you were saying the untruth, to recognize that and to recognize, this is not making me trustworthy. This is not helping me to trust me. It is not helping me to trust life. And it's not helping me to trust the divine. And so being willing to just speak truth. The more you speak truth, the more trustworthy you become. The more you are trustworthy to yourself because you are speaking the truth. And it's sometimes inconvenient to speak the truth, painful to speak the truth, and you speak the truth in love. So you don't say to someone else, you're a mean person. You might say, my feelings were hurt when you said that thing which sounded so mean to me. And so you are speaking the truth in love. And you're not attacking another person. Attacking another person is not truth. It is vengeance. And learning to be willing to simply speak out of love in truth. And so what you say to yourself inside your mind, there's a lot of untruth going on there. And there are a lot of these anxious thoughts that are fabricating possible futures and projections that don't exist, aren't real, and never will be. Speak truth in your mind. Speak truth out of your mouth. Learning to be in that place of truthfulness makes you more trustworthy. And the more you trust yourself, the easier it is to trust other people. Of course, some people trust blindly, and we don't recommend that because that's going to lead you to pain and suffering. And those people that trust blindly don't trust themselves. And so we say, trust yourself, and it will adjust your trust meter, your trust barometer, that ability to know and discern who to trust and who not to trust. Developing that ability is much easier when you are trustworthy to yourself. If you know that you are not trustworthy, it becomes very challenging to continue to share and to sorry, this is Noemi Grace. My computer is doing something weird. Hopefully I'm still connected. And so
yes,
we are. Okay, good. My computer just started flashing, which was a little distracting even with my eyes closed. So let me get connection again, and my apologies. So the more that you become trustworthy to yourself, the more that you tell the truth to yourself and tell the truth to others, it is easier to trust you. It is easier to extend trust to us even. But also develop the relationship with us. Be willing to spend time with us and listen. And speak to us and tell us how your heart feels. Tell us what your heart longs for. Speak to us from love. And speak to us in frustration. Speak to us wherever you are. Speak to us. That will help you to develop the relationship with us so you can trust us. So here it is, developing the relationship with yourself through becoming trustworthy, and the relationship with us through spending time with us. Those two things will help you deeply to become more trusting. And that everyday trust will lead to greater trust when the time demands of trust of you or victimhood of you. Where the time is there, will you trust or be a victim? It will be much easier for you to choose trust. We are complete in this transmission. Namaste.
Ooh, that was absolutely awesome. And just a quick, Noemi, because I know you were channeling there, but not number one, but to develop trust, everyone, we start by even just saying, I can choose trust today and know that you are not alone. Number two, forge and develop a deeper relationship with Source, and that is through meditation. Offer your heart's desire and be silent. And number three, become trustworthy by speaking the truth in love inside your mind and to others. Oh, and there's a fourth. Fourth, have discernment. Don't trust blindly. Just develop all of these other practices. So, Noemi, that's what came through to me. I loved it so much. I can't wait to start this program. That's fun. The trust program.
Absolutely. You're already on the trust program, but it's we always have that opportunity to deepen the trust. And so for me, it's going back to I've changed the trust, the prayer, getting out of bed and saying trust to gratitude. So maybe I'll alternate them. Some days trust, some day gratitude.
Yeah, switch it up. Yeah,
but it is, the first words out of my mouth. Yeah. So
I'm going to absolutely, I think you're right. I am on the trust train. I like it. But I do like what you're saying to alternate them and continue this. But a quick invitation to you guys, everyone who's listening, especially if you are here joining us with this one for the whole show and have questions or want to comment, join us next Wednesday as we do a Facebook Live on OMTimes Magazine's homepage there on Facebook. Noemi Grace and myself, Lisa Berry, will be there to answer questions to help you develop your intuition, to deepen your trust. And we want to see you there at 12 p.m. Eastern, right? Yes.
Absolutely. And we will both be on the big screen side by side.
Yes! We trust. Oh, Noemi, this has just been a healing, beautiful, lovely time spent with you and everybody else. I could just feel a love and a deep, deep, deep love and reach out, healing to your lovely friend, your deep soul sister there, Marie Patrice, and a hello to Lavinia as she makes her way wherever she's going on the other side.
Yeah. This has been such a delight. I'm so thankful to be able to share this time with you and the divine and the listeners as my friend is going through surgery. Helps me to trust more.
Yes, exactly. All right, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday on Facebook Live, OMTimes Magazine. Woohoo!
Yoo-hoo!
Bye, guys. Bye, Noemi.
Bye. Bye, Lisa.
Bye-bye.